mic test. Good there. All right, let's roll. Let me fix this little image right here. I move myself a little bit to the middle. Look at that. The magic of technology. So I got my glasses on. And sorry for this. Sorry for the screw up on the streaming. It's my first time, so first time for everything. I want to welcome you guys to my channel. This is Riding the Pine Bets, Riding the Pine Sports, Riding the Pine, Ride My Pine, whatever you want to call it. I just wanted to make a quick intro video about how I bet on sports and how I've become a profitable bettor. I've sports bet really most of my life. Is well, sorry, I shouldn't say most of my life. Most of my adult life when I had any sort of disposable income. And let me adjust this camera. That looks a little tilted, doesn't it? Yeah, let's straighten me up there. That's much better. That is much, much better. Um, Gee, I got my whole arm cut off there. There we go. That's better. Um, so as long as I can really remember having access to sports betting, I've been a sports bettor. Um, and I was always really, really bad at it, just like probably all of us are. Sports betting is really difficult. The truth is, uh, sports betting wouldn't exist if casinos weren't making money off of it. They've got an edge. That's your juice. If you're on this video, you know what that is. Basically, you lay $110 to win $100. The sports book is just trying to create lines that create equal value or equal betting on each side, and then they pick up that 10% juice on each side. So it's not meant for people to beat the system. It's not meant for people to beat the books. It's a great way of gambling because the risk is pretty low compared to other ways you can gamble. Like obviously, it's a better way than betting on slots or playing blackjack or baccarat or three card poker, anything you want to play like that. There are better odds, but there are things that you can do to increase your odds and become a profitable bettor. So to be a profitable bettor, you've got to hit 56 to 57% of your bets, assuming that the juice is minus 110. At that point, if you're hitting 56 to 57%, you are a profitable bettor. Now, there's people all over the internet, all over the place. I'm going to name some names. Kyle covers spreads, um, Vegas Dave. There's a guy named Big Bet Mike that is he's absolutely horrendous in Vegas. You can look him up. These are all guys I think you're worth giving a follow. But these guys are going to sell picks for anywhere from $20 a pick up to, I know Vegas Dave will get like $500 a pick. And they're going to tell you that they hit 90% of the time. And at the end of their day, they're going to put out a YouTube video or an Instagram story saying, oh, we hit all these winners. So you guys missed out. Hit us tomorrow. Vegas Dave's amazing. I met him one time in Vegas with my dad. He was driving a Maserati. My dad and I were at a basketball game. And my dad's like, wow, what a car. And he got out and I was like, oh shit, that's Vegas Dave. I know who that guy is. So I just went up and talked to him and I told him I was a big fan, which is true. Like, I actually am a big fan of Vegas Dave as far as marketing. Like, that guy marketed the hell out of himself just by hitting some prop bets. And he makes a lot of money, but he also makes his money by scamming people, which is kind of shitty. So I like Vegas Dave, the person. He's like 5'2". Like when he gets out of a Bugatti, he's the only guy who like doesn't go and lifts up. Like he He just gets out like you would in a normal car. So there's guys like that sell picks. I'm not looking to sell picks. I just want to talk about sports betting. I love sports betting. I do it every day. It's what I do full time as a job right now. And I just wanted to kind of share some of the things that have worked for me and things that you can do to make yourself a better. So the first thing I would say is don't be a professional sports bettor because it's really hard to make money unless you have a giant bankroll. So don't do that. But here are some tips and tricks. This is what I wrote down as far as the things that have worked for me. And I'm sure I'll come up with some other stuff later, and I'll show you guys a little bit of the software that I use. But number one, the main thing, the first thing that you want to do is get as many sports books as you can. So currently, I have FanDuel, WynnBET, Caesars, and BetMGM. I have those ones because those are the ones that allow me to bet. I bet a certain amount every single game, and I bet that same amount every single time. And there are some books like DraftKings, Barstool, who as soon as you start winning, if they think that you know what you're doing, if they think that you are a sharp bettor or you are on the same side as the sharp bettors, they will limit you. So on DraftKings and Barstool, who, by the way, I love Barstool Sports, but can Dave Portnoy just at least admit that Barstool Sportsbooks doesn't let winners play there? You can go on YouTube right now and just look at people who are banned or Twitter. Every good sports bettor is banned from Barstool Sportsbook. Nobody good can bet there. So, no offense if you have Barstool Sportsbook, and you can get around getting banned from them. I did something really stupid with Barstool. I was doing what's called arbitrage betting early on, it was just kind of my way to get through my welcome bonuses. But basically, there's enough lines out there that occasionally you can find bets where you can bet on both sides and you will win. One of those two will hit because you're betting on both sides and you're guaranteed to win. Let's say you had like a minus 120 for the Jazz to win by 6.5, and on another book you had, say the Jazz are playing the Spurs and the Spurs are plus 6.5 and they're at plus 135, right? So if you bet the plus and the minus there, you see you've created a plus 15, right? So no matter how that bet hits, you're guaranteed to win. Problem is, these sports books now communicate with each other. A lot of them are actually owned by the same people, or they share the same software, or they're sharing data with each other. So they'll catch you if you're arbitrage betting, if you're betting big amounts. So I wouldn't recommend arbitrage betting unless you're going to an offshore book, which is legal. And I do not condone illegal offshore betting or betting with a local bookie. But if you are going to bet with a local bookie or an offshore bet, they're less likely to catch you if you're arbitrage betting. So just a little hint there. I don't recommend. I mean, I would recommend arbitrage betting as long as you can get away with it. But if you are worried about being limited by a sports book, don't arbitrage bet. So I've had every book that you can have in Arizona. We have Bet Rivers, we have BetMGM, we have Caesars, we have FanDuel, DraftKings, Barstool, we have Desert Diamond. But currently, I'm only allowed to bet on Caesars, FanDuel, BetMGM, and WynnBET. So get as many as you can, and then link them to your PayPal or your Venmo account, or you can link them right to your checking account. But make sure you have a way to quickly deposit money. That's super super important to be able to deposit and withdraw money. Some sportsbooks are really good. BetMGM's awesome. FanDuel's awesome. They will give you your payout in less than an hour. Caesars is very slow. WynnBET's a little bit slower, but a lot of times you can't get your money in and out quick enough to transfer from like Caesars to WynnBET or FanDuel to WynnBET. But even the ones that are fast, you're still talking 15 to 20 minutes, and in that amount of time, your lines can change. So I like using PayPal. I have a separate account that I do all my bets from, and I keep a certain amount of money in those accounts, and that way I can transfer money in and out very quickly. Depositing for a bet can take max a minute, so you're not going to worry too much about the line shifting while you're making a deposit. The next thing I would do, if you're betting a good amount of money, I would invest in some sort of betting software. There's a lot of good ones out there. Action Network's really good. Action Network actually now works with Sports Insights. Sports Insights was one of the big ones. I can show you here. Let's see if I can get it up there. Yeah. So here's this is Sports Insights homepage. This is Action's homepage, and here you can get a lot of information. I think Action Network might be $100 a month. You can get lesser versions that don't give you quite as much information. But I'd recommend if you're going to be betting full time, get one of those software, or you can watch my live stream every morning because I'm going to show you the bets that I'm making. Let me get back to me here. Undo that. So get a software or follow people who know what they're doing and are making picks based on analytics. The second thing I would do is make sure you treat your betting like an investment account. Everybody knows when you're investing, if you take money out every time the market starts to dip, you're going to lose. When you have a 401k, when you have an investment and retirement account, you put the money in because it can stay there and you plan on leaving it there. So whatever you're going to start with betting, make sure that you don't need that money. And I'm even if it's as little as $100 and you're betting $5 a game, make sure you're never going to take that $100 out. That's your baseline. Whatever that number is, you're never taking that amount out. You can take out money when it gets above that, but make sure that you set a limit that you're never going to take out above that. And for me personally, I try not to take out of my account whenever possible. I'm trying to build my bankroll as big as I can. So to give you an example, I started my bankroll with I think with $4,000. And I try and keep it around 12,000 in my account all the time. If it goes above that, I'll take money out and that's what I'll spend. But make sure that you have a bankroll that you're comfortable with. If you're not interested in growing your bankroll, that's great. Just leave your $100 in there. If it goes above it, take it out. If it doesn't, leave it. And the nice thing is your bankroll might get less than $100. If you go on a 5-game or a 5-day skid, your bankroll might get down to $30 or $40. But you haven't taken anything out there, and if you're betting the way that I'm going to show you how to bet, chances are you're going to get back above that bankroll long before you run out from that bankroll. So treating your betting like an investment account is really smart. Establishing and growing your fund is what I did. You don't have to do that. If you just want to be casual about it and you just want to always be able to have money in there, don't worry about growing your account. If it gets over whatever your baseline is, take that money out and go enjoy it. The next thing I say is bet the same amount for each game. Now there are caveats to this. So most of the bets that I make I'm gonna try and have juice between plus 110 to minus 110, maybe up to 115. But I'm gonna bet the same amount every single time. So let's say your betting amount is $100. You have $1,000 bankroll. Let's say $2,000 bankroll at that point. You're gonna bet $100 on each game, no matter what it is. You're gonna bet $100. That way, it forces you to not rely too much on bets that you love. I see a lot of bettors that do that. They'll say, and a lot of these guys that are selling picks, they'll say bet 3 units on this or a quarter unit on this one. The reason they're doing that is because they're trying to make up for losses most of the time, or they're relying really, really heavy on their own knowledge. I've never seen a line that was so off that I felt like I needed to go above what I normally bet. So don't worry about how strongly you feel about a game. If you feel strongly about a game, put your money there. If you are iffy about a game and the analytics are telling you to bet on that game and you don't want to, just don't bet it. But don't bet more. Never bet more. And always bet the same amount, because that's going to allow you to, if you're at 56, 57% winning percentage, then you're going to be profitable. But if you start upping your bet, let's say you do 300 on one game, 25 on another game, your winning percentage no longer matters. And that's really all you're trying to maintain is a 56 to 57% winning percentage. That doesn't matter if you're moving your bet around or if you're taking a lot of juice. That's the other part of this. So if you're going to take an underdog, and some of those underdogs are nice. Like I know I'm on one today that's a plus 180 underdog. If it's a plus 180 underdog, I'm going to adjust my bet. Let's say I'm trying to win $100 on this bet, right? So I'm betting 110 to win 100. If I have a plus 180 underdog, I'm going to do the math that says I'm going to put whatever amount it is. Sorry, I should have done this, but whatever amount you need to put down to make $100 is what I might put down there. And conversely, don't chase favorites. This is where people will probably disagree with me. And a lot of sharp professional bettors will disagree with me. But if you are chasing a big favorite on the money line or even on the spread where you're getting into minus 120, minus 130 territory, you're giving up too much juice. If the line was really that far off, the books would shift it, right? So if it was plus 3.5 and you're betting it's minus 130, the truth is that the money is just unbalanced. But if the line hasn't moved, there's a there's probably a good indicator that there's no sharp bettors there. That you don't have professional bettors on that line. It's just that the public money is heavy. So don't take big lines. Try and shop it. Look for a different book that has that line lower. That's part of what the software is going to do. If I show you here, I usually do this on my phone, so let me pop back on here. But if I go here, let's say I'm looking at the Jazz, right? Looks like they're plus 2.5 at the consensus line is plus 2.5 at minus 115. I'm going to click on this, and it's going to give me the options at different sports books, right? So you can see already that this line has moved to plus 2. It's minus 110 everywhere else except for BetMGM. In this scenario, I might take the plus 2.5 because I'm getting an extra half point and I'm only paying an extra $5 for for a $100 win. So make sure when you're looking at this, if this were to come up, let's say, if this was plus 2 at minus 15, obviously as I'm shopping, I'd see Caesars at minus 110, FanDuel at plus 110, DraftKings, Barstool at plus or minus 109. Now, let's say that these are all equal, that it's all plus 2. This is how you make your bet. Barstool Sports is giving you, it's small, but it's minus 109 versus minus 110. You are getting value there. You now have a slight edge on the betting public and a slight edge on this book because you are getting a slight edge in your odds. A lot of times, though, what you'll find is you'll find Barstool at like plus or minus 105 and the rest of these at minus 115. That's really what you're looking for on the outliers, is you're looking for outlier lines. And that's why it's super important to have different sports books. Let's see if I can find a decent one here, if anybody has anything different. Here's a really interesting one here. So I can take the Wizards, this line has shifted dramatically, at plus 4.5. I get a full extra point at minus 115 than if I bet with them at FanDuel, or I get a full point. FanDuel at plus 3.5 at minus 110. So in this scenario, I'm obviously going to get a better line at BetMGM, and I'm going to bet there. So this is just a simple example here. If you want to bet 76ers Wizards, you have an opportunity right now at this moment to get an extra point on your line for, $5 more. That's a great bet for you. That's why it's important. And if you get these tracking softwares, you can go add whatever books you have active, and it'll show you what the lines are, and they are updated in real time. There's two types of bettors. There's the bettors who are like most of us, where we feel like we have a good understanding of certain teams or certain instances, and we bet that way. We listen to podcasts all week. We might think we have an edge. That's fine, as long as you're betting this way. As long as when you think you know what side is going to win, you come here and find your best line, you now have an edge on the books. The other type of bettor is more like myself. I'm completely data driven. I try and take my heart out of it. In fact, this weekend, I can give examples. I had a really, really bad weekend where with 3 days, I was up $45, which for me, that's a bad weekend, and I kind of had to save it at the end. But the reason I'm up $45 is because I bet money on BYU minus 6 when the analytics told me to go the other way, just because I thought BYU would beat ECU based solely on numbers. There's no reason BYU should have been a 6-point favorite in that game. Every professional bettor knew it, and yet I still took it. And the second one is I chased yesterday. I had Warriors minus 6.5. They got down like 15, and I was able to live bet it at like plus 1.5. I still thought the Warriors were going to win, so I chased there, and then UFC boxing killed me this weekend. I will say this. I have not found a good way to bet the UFC and boxing. There's too many variables. I had Calvin Kattar. I had a good amount of money on Calvin Kattar, and he just blew out his knee. And then also, I didn't think a YouTuber would knock out one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, or knock him down, I guess just beat him, even though that guy was 47 years old. Stupid of me. But I relied on my own mind, and that wiped out, at $300 a bet, that would wipe out almost $1,000 that I could have made this week if I didn't rely on my own knowledge. Don't bet on stuff that you know. Be analytical is kind of my way, or you can bet on just the stuff that you know, but use the edge that you can find at sportsbooks. Both ways are fine. Either way, you're going to get an edge. I just find that I'm too emotional to bet that way. Um, Again, don't blow your winnings. And the last thing is subscribe to my channel. I will be showing you exactly how I do this on every live stream. I'm going to try and do 7 days a week. It may just be 5 days a week initially, but I'm going to be live streaming how I do this. Jump in, ask questions, engage. We can look at these lines together. If there's lines you want to look at, I'm happy to do it. All you got to do is jump in the chat, and I will show you the live bets on this. So that's it for this intro, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can go in my DMs. You can hit me up in the chat anytime. You can find me on Twitter at RTPBets. I believe it's the same on Instagram. I will link those below in this channel, but come back to this anytime you need to remember. There's just little simple tricks, and then I'll show you exactly how I do it as the live streams get going. Please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. It helps me keep going. It gives me a reason to keep making videos. And again, if there's games that you have questions about, DM me, and I will try and get to you as soon as I can, or I'll include them in the live bet. So, all right, guys. Thanks, and best of luck to you. Win millions.